At one point in your life, you'll hit rock bottom. A point where you don't know what you'll do next because the life you wanted no longer suits you. When that happens, it'll feel like there's no way out. It'll feel like your world is crashing down. But then something happens inside of you. You can't explain it, but deep down you realize that everything is about to change. Here are 21 signs you're doing better than you think. You realize that you can't live like this forever. So I feel like at one point in your life, you're going to realize that you can't live like this forever. That's what happened to me when I felt stuck as a hospital nurse. And when that realization hit me, it hit me hard. I feel like everything that I'd worked hard for, going through university and then doing all the placements that I've done just didn't make any sense because I wasn't happy with what I'm doing. But looking back now, I think that realization was something I needed in order to change the course of action of my life. You're more confused than ever. If you're confused about your life, it's a good thing, because if you were indifferent about your life, you wouldn't feel the need to change. And if you're not changing, that means you're not growing. You care about your job, you care about your relationships, you care about your life, you care about the day-to-day things that you want to do in your life. You're jealous of other people's lives. I used to think that jealousy is a bad emotion, and I heard from this author named Brianna Weiss that jealousy is basically a reflection of what you want in life, and I feel like I couldn't agree more. I was jealous of people like Kelly Stamps, Rowena Chai, Lana Blakely, and I realized that jealousy just meant that I had to reframe it as a motivation. It's like, if they can do it, why can't I? And it's the same thing for you. So if you are jealous of other people, try asking yourself, what are you jealous of, and what is the thing about their life that you want the most? You're leaning into your fears. Dreams live behind your fears. So you finally start embracing your fears, whether that's showing up online, writing, creating videos, creating that podcast, starting a business. You're also learning that fear is part of the process, and that if you want to have an extraordinary life, you have no choice but to follow this fear, because that's where your dream lives. You're learning to listen to yourself. In this digital age, it's so hard to know what we want in life because of everything that we're consuming and how influenced we are by them. But one day, you're going to realize that you have all the answers, and looking around means that you're simply unsure of yourself. Over time, you're going to develop that faith or trust that you don't need to be influenced by other people in order to know what you want in life. You're learning to say no to distractions. As you start listening to yourself, you'll learn whether something is an addition or a distraction. If it's an addition, it means that it's helping you achieve your goals much faster. But if it drives you away from your goal, that means it's a distraction. For example, right now my goal is to grow on YouTube, and every other platform, whether that's TikTok or Instagram or Twitter, I've completely stopped posting on them because I realized at the end of the day, they're a distraction. They're not going to help me grow on YouTube. What's going to help me grow on YouTube is by posting videos consistently and ensuring that their quality is better every time I upload. It feels like I'm messing up, but I know that doing this will help me get to my goals much faster. You're finally deciding to do something different with your life. Maybe that's starting a business or creating content online, but you have made a decision. And even if it doesn't work out, you know that you wouldn't have wasted your time because you know that you would have learned something along the way. All it takes to change the course of the direction of your life is to take one small leap. You don't need to take a whole big leap or quit your job and do all of these grandeur things, but all you need is to take one small step in the right direction and everything else will flow. Even if you decide to change directions along the way, you would still be closer to your goals than if you had just stayed and keep thinking about it. You're feeling disconnected from the people around you. When you're going through a transformation, you're going to want to distance yourself from the people around you. And that's okay. It's part of the process. I feel like if you're in this journey, you're going to lose some friends, but also you're going to come back with stronger and deeper relationships with some of your friends if you're lucky. You're okay with having no clear path in front of you. Uncertainty is as scary as hell, but as you embark on a new chapter, being uncertain is something that you're starting to be okay with, because you know that a life worth living isn't necessarily laid out for you. Instead, it's the path that you actually choose to embark on. And as you take more steps, you trust that the actual thing that you need to go through, or the path that you need to go through, will be revealed to you. You're following your gut more often. And speaking of trust, you're following your gut more often, because just like your heart, your gut knows what you want and what you need in life. Most of the time, you're going to question the things that you are deciding, but because they are your decisions, you know that they're not wrong, and you realize that you can always change your mind. You're putting your needs first. It's gonna feel very selfish at first, but you realize that without putting your happiness first, you can't make other people happy. I'm a firm believer about filling your own cup first, because you cannot show up from an empty cup. You need to learn how to make yourself happy. You need to learn how to give yourself love. You need to learn to do all these things so that you can show up better for other people. You simply cannot show up from an empty cup. You're seeding without realizing. When you follow your gut more often, chances are you're doing a little bit more creative. And when you do this, you don't realize, but you're seeding something that will grow tenfold in the future. So for example, you might be taking art classes or pottery classes. Right now, they're just a hobby that you enjoy, but who knows, maybe 5 years or 10 years from now, you decide to turn this passion into a business. And it's cool because it's something that you don't even realize. And the thing is, you didn't even intend to do this. This happened because you simply followed your curiosity. You're starting to not care about what others think. I feel like most of us don't do what we want in life because of what others might think. And this sucks, because I feel like it means that we gave our power or the control to other people in order to live our lives. Imagine waking up one day and saying, hey, I want to start a YouTube channel, but I'm so scared, or my family, friends, my coworkers will think it's so cringe. It means that you have given them all the control over your life, of what you want to do in life. And it just makes no sense. At the end of the day, this is your life. You get to do what you want with it. You care more about how you feel versus what others will think. When I was having my nursing identity crisis, I didn't want to let go of the job title emergency nurse. I thought being an emergency nurse was the coolest thing ever, but then the job didn't really live up to my expectations. I was scared of letting go of this job title because I didn't know what to tell people when they asked me, what do you do for work? But then throughout that whole process, I realized that being an ER nurse didn't make me feel good anymore. And this is something that I'm actually trying to actively work on, because I'm back into ER as an ER nurse and I do love it, but now I'm a travel nurse, so now I have to be careful not to get too attached to the title of being a travel ER nurse, so that later in the future, if I decide not to do this anymore, it's not going to affect me as much. You embrace struggle. I feel like we live in a time where we have so much resistance with struggle. We think, or we believe, that because we're struggling, it means that we're not doing the right thing. But it gets a little bit tricky, because you do have to use your judgment or discernment when it comes to this. So for example, you have to ask yourself, are you struggling because you genuinely don't like what you're doing? Or are you struggling because you care about it so much that you want it to work? For me, every time I show up to create videos or write and all that, it's a struggle, but it's not in the same way where my body's telling me I'd rather be doing this than anything else. It's a different kind of struggle, and that's something that you have to figure out for yourself, what kind of struggle it is, whether it's worth to continue to pursue or not. You're moving slow, but in the right direction. As someone who's very impulsive, I find moving slow very hard. But because I've moved fast my entire life, I've actually gathered some data about what I like and I don't like. But now that I have some data, I've started to realize that I want to move slowly so that I can move in the right direction, working on the right thing. So basically, I'm learning how to slow down, developing my craft so that I can actually work on these things for a very, very long time. You care more about substance than superficial shows. Ever since short-form content have taken over the internet, I feel like I've developed more cravings for long-form content. So I like to read long blog posts, books. I like to watch TV shows, movies, YouTube videos. And I feel like this is a natural thing where I want to be able to connect or relate to the show or whatever it is that I'm consuming. And I feel like you just cannot get this from watching your stories or highlights or reels. And I feel like that's okay. You don't have to follow the trend if you don't want to. You're taking care of your health. Whether it's physical, mental, spiritual, or emotional health, I realized that without health, I have nothing. I can't show up well to do the things that I want if I'm not physically active, if I'm not sleeping well, if I'm not eating well. So I have to prioritize these things in order to show up well, in order to do my work well. And I feel like that's something that you're gonna go through as well if you're going through something, is that you're gonna start putting your health first. You don't want a mediocre life. Even though you don't know how to make it happen, you know that you want an extraordinary life. You want to be excited to wake up to the life you have created, even if that life is considered boring for some people, or even if that life is considered too adventurous for others. You're realizing that you want to build a life that you don't want to escape from, and that's going to take time. I feel like there's so many more things when it comes to things that you're actually doing better than you think, but I really hope that some of these stuff resonated with you. Let me know down in the comments which ones have resonated with you, and I hope that you be kind to yourself and you take it one day at a time, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.